Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Relaxo Footwears Q4 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Axis Capital Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be no opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal the operator by pressing star then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Gaurav Jogani from Axis Capital. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Axis Capital, I would like to welcome you all to Relaxo Footwears Q4 FY21 earnings conference call. From the management, we have with us today Mr. Ramesh Kumar Dua, Managing Director, Mr. Ritesh Dua, Executive Vice President Finance, Mr. Gaurav Dua, Executive Vice President Marketing, Mr. Sushil Batra, CFO, Mr. Vikas Tak, Company Secretary. We'll begin with a brief discussion from the management end and then we can open up the floor for the Q&A. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
So good afternoon to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending our earnings call for the financial year 2020-21. We have already shared our earnings press release and result presentation. Hope you got an opportunity to go through that. I will start with Q4 FY21 financial performance followed by full year FY21 financial performance. In Q4 FY21, Relaxo booked operating revenue of rupees 748 crore, which is a growth of 38% year on year. The strong revenue growth was partially due to low base of Q4 FY20. As we know, sales was impacted in Q4 of last year due to lockdown in the month of March last year. EBITDA during the quarter was rupees 163 crore, which was a strong growth of 69% compared to the corresponding period of previous year. Our EBITDA margin for the quarter was 21.8, vis-a-vis EBITDA margin of 17.8 in Q4 FY20. Our profit after tax was rupees 102 crore for the quarter, up by 97% year on year with a PAT margin of 13.7%. For FY2021, our revenue declined marginally by 2% to rupees 2,359 crore with EBITDA margin of 21%. Our PAT of rupees 292 crore in FY21 with a margin of 12.4% grew by 29% year on year, mainly due to product mix and saving in selling and administrative expenses. During FY2021, we generated a cash of rupees 513 crore from operations and spent rupees 142 crore in capex and repayment of current and non-current borrowings. At the end of March 21, we have 398 exclusive brand outlets which contribute around 7% of total revenue. Export is holding its ground and contributing around 4% of revenue. During the ongoing crisis, we are undertaking all necessary measures to ensure safety and well-being of our employees and partners. We continue to support and provide assistance to our distributor and customers. Due to lockdown in various parts of India, overall demand for footwear is subdued right now. However, we believe that demand for footwear should bounce back whenever the restrictions are lifted. The second wave of COVID-19 in India is more severe and continues to impact lives and livelihoods. We stand with all those affected and are dedicated toward protecting and supporting our employees, partners, and communities in the face of this unfolding crisis. Relaxo remains committed toward its stakeholder by creating a sustainable, profitable, and growing business. The company enjoys comfortable liquidity position with zero net debt and continues to provide assistance to its distributor and vendors. Despite the uncertainty related to the extent and length of the fresh wave, we believe that company is well placed to emerge stronger in the post-COVID-19 world. We remain committed to give the best experience and value for money to our customer and creating long-term value for our shareholders. We can now open the floor for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and one on your touch-tone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and one. The first question is on the line of Nihal Jham from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, and good evening to the entire management. So, a couple of questions from my side, and I'm taking from our last interaction. At that point in time, obviously, you mentioned that given the trend in raw material prices, you expect that longer-term margins would sustain at around 18%, but we've obviously ended the year at a much higher number. So, first, if you could comment, what is it that you expect going forward, then after which I can come to my next question.
Mr. Batra?
Yes. Andy sir? No.
No, I cannot take it. This year, that is 2021, the margin have been more because they have been saving on account of sales and promotion expenses, travel expenses, and some professional expenses. So that has been the one reason. And the raw material price also have been benign. And some efficiencies we worked at back end also in our plants. That was the main reason for, more than expected EBITDA level of achieving. Second, you can.
So at the end, is it that in the coming year we expect most of these expenses would normalize, especially on the advertising part?
So, we have to see it from time to time how the things are. Presently, the way again, second wave has come up. So traveling will remain restricted. But, brand building is something you can't avoid. That we have to go on. So this year, our strategy is that we have to build our brand in the long-term interest. So this year, compared to last year, our expenditure on brand building will be more. This is what I want to say.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. We are not able to hear you clearly.
I am telling the expenditure on brand building this year will be more than it was last year. Because for longer periods, we cannot keep on saving on brand expenditure like advertisement and all that. So this year, as a strategy, we'll be spending more money on brand building. That is what I wanted to tell.
That's very clear, sir. Thank you so much. One more question from my side. I just wanted to understand on the industry scenario at present. Would it be fair to say that given the disruption that has happened because of COVID, especially in a lot of our MBO channels, there has been disruption of other brands which has helped us increase market share? Would that be a right sense of what is happening on ground at this point in time?
But the way things are, the total, very chaotic, unpredictable environment that we are prevailing in. Nobody expected that COVID wave 2 will be like that. We are now, we are in the lockdown. And when only the lockdown starts opening up, then only, things will start working. Presently, 3 out of our 8 plants are only operating. And maybe only 10-15% markets are open. So business is largely affected. So the way things open up, then only we'll be able to really know how the things take shape. But as far as organized is concerned, definitely we are in a better situation than unorganized players. That advantage we might have than others. And as far as our retail outlets are concerned, there our business is hardly 7-8%. So last year also we suffered on a lot of retail outlets were closed. But because we are selling to a lot of multi-brand outlets, which are through wholesalers and distributors, around 50,000 we are attending. So that is our saving grace that we are able to have in our business. That is the way the things are. That advantage we'll have this year also.
Sure. Just a last question, that what will be the share of e-commerce for this entire year?
E-commerce including modern trade and all these is hardly 10%. So our stake 8% rather. So our stakes are very low. We are selling after not very high value item. Last year the e-commerce was closed for because a lot of time. So shoes and all these things sale was less. So ultimately, because of all these things, our business was little bit affected e-commerce. But it is not a very big stake for us in e-commerce. Our articles sell more on multi-brand outlets.
No, absolutely. I was just trying to understand that this year, given the disruption, if there is a sizable increase in a share compared to last year, especially on the e-com side.
No. You can't accept, because ultimately our articles are mostly priced around 150 to 125 or 200 rupees. These articles are unavailable to be sold on this, online.
Okay.
They generally sell to multi-brand outlets only.
Absolutely. Because in the second quarter, when the disruption was at its peak, we had reached a 10% share. So I just wanted to check, maybe there is a continuation of that once the open up happened after, say, September, October.
No, when, online, when things open up, then it is there. But we have to see now whole year how the things is panned out. This year also we are sitting in lockdown.
Yes.
And ultimately this year or last year, if the market are chaotic, what we find is that when the markets are like that, when the people are indoors, more of the slippers have sold last year. This year also, if the things remain like this, when people are indoors, this closed footwear will remain affected, and the sale online will also remain affected.
Understood. That's very helpful. I'll come back in the queue. I have a few more questions, and I'll come back in the queue and take them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amnish Agarwal from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, I have a couple of questions. My first question is on the raw material front. If you look at our gross margins, both on a YOY as well as even on a QOQ basis, our gross margins are actually down. Because in this quarter they are 56.8. In the previous quarter they were 58.9. So how much is the inflation in raw material currently? And because I understand that most of these petrochemical based imports, they have moved up even in the month of March, April and May. And secondly, how much price increase we have undertaken, and will we be able to sustain our gross margins at the current levels? So that is my question number one, first part of the margin. The second bit on the margin side is that if you look last year, we have actually cut down on our overhead significantly. If I look at the full year, they are down by nearly 400 bits, and you are yourself indicating that ad spend will go up. Now, looking at this scenario, that this year's ad spend will come back, raw materials are high. So what sort of, you can say, outlook on margins would you like to give from here on? So this is my first question on margins.
Yeah. The way things are, raw material prices definitely they are gone up and totally, volatile. And this scenario we have faced in our life number of times. Many times rubber was 100, then it was 250. And these things do happen in any business cycle, and we have gone through it. So what is our strategy? Every quarter, whatever prices are, accordingly, we will then take our decision, keeping in view market condition, price revision. So whatever is required, whatever is possible, then we pass it on to our customers. So this is what we have been doing. Raw materials, naturally, they will always vary. And accordingly, we also, but at the same time, we have to be also watchful that what is the competitive intensity in the market. And then how you can't just immediately give kind of knee-jerk reaction in prices and then after 3 months you may say, okay, now prices have gone down, so we reduce it. So there has to be a kind of stability. From our best judgment, we pass on the price with the competitive industry and accordingly take the decision. And next quarter again we review the things. So this is what we have been doing since ages, I will call it. And this is what we tend to do in future also. Keep on the prices, keep on quarterly reviewing the same market conditions and accordingly passing on. As a margin is concerned that you told, naturally this year things are different. So we have to watch the market condition and take a decision. The way things are, gross margin may get impacted. But on the overall year basis, we have to wait and see. We can't say now. Accordingly, management also do a course correction in between also. And this branding exercise that we are undertaking, that's the call we have taken. But then we keep on reviewing all these things, Market is very chaotic, very volatile. Raw material wise, otherwise, this lockdown exercise, nobody can say with guarantee how long lockdown will continue, how long COVID wave will continue. Now there is a fear of COVID, third wave also. So the way things are, nothing can be said with certainty. We have to keep on reviewing every quarter and take corrective action. That's it.
Yeah. So how much pricing we would have undertaken in the past few months?
Around 7-8% we have taken, but again, this price rise is depending upon article to article in the same category also. Some article we have taken more than 10%, 15% also. But again, we have to see which article can take how much price increase. Some articles, because we are in a kind of a fashionable market. Some articles don't perform, or some articles perform too much. And then we have to see what is the competition rate of similar articles. So accordingly, article by article, we have to review. We can't generally say, okay, 7% all around. So we have to be very watchful on all this. Article to article, we have to decide.
Okay. Sir, my second question is on the demand scenario. Because the Relaxo caters more to the value for money segment in footwear. And last year, rural India, small town, that was not impacted much by the first wave of COVID, but this time around the scenario seems to be different. So what sort of an on-the-ground situation we are currently witnessing? And in your view, will it take longer for the demand to come back this time around, more so in the small towns and rural India?
Well, again, the things are, I will call it difficult to predict. But as the thing is, the way things are, now COVID wave second is now going down, things are improving. We think in a couple of months, things will then start improving and maybe back to normal. Many times, there's a pent-up demand, a kind of a thing. So immediately things start improving. I think June, July things will start. July will be the very good month to improve. In June also, but different states are taking different decisions. If the lockdown prevails, then things will remain the way they are. Because it is a very difficult thing to predict. So we have to wait and see only. Nobody can say with certainty what is going to happen. Because everybody is confused to whomsoever we ask the question. How long things will happen, the way things are, nobody can predict. You have to wait and see.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Just one thing, how much capex are we planning for the current year?
Mr. Agarwal, may we request that you return to the question queue? with the
Absolutely.
participants waiting for their turn. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in this conference, we request you to limit your questions to 2 per participant only. The next question is on the line of Akhil Parekh from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. My first question is on the demand for closed footwear. Like first few quarters of the year, the demand was driven by open footwear. But the expectations were like as we move closer to the festive season and winter season, the demand will pick up. So how has that been the case? How is the demand in closed footwear for third quarter as well as fourth quarter?
Well, you are right. Demand of closed footwear did improve during festive season, the quarter 3 and quarter 4 both. Before that, demand of closed footwear was really not, because it was all under a fear of lockdown and lot of months we lost. People were also cautious in moving in the markets. People were more indoor. So shoe business was affected. But after this, what you call it, festival season, third quarter and fourth quarter have been quite satisfactory as far as the closed footwear is concerned.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that demand is now back to pre-COVID level for almost all the categories?
You know, this quarter 4, yes, it was rather better. But now again, this first quarter of this year, we are sitting in lockdown. So what can be said about this time?
Sure. Just last question on the price hike. You mentioned that on an average 7 to 8% price hike. So have you passed on the entire inflation in the raw material, say in PU, EVA and PVC? Because the prices of raw material have risen far more than 7-8% in last few quarters. So should we expect more price hikes to happen during first 2 quarters of the year?
Yeah, well, we have to again review quarter by quarter. This is what we decided for this quarter, keeping in view the market conditions also. Now then we have to see how much raw material. Sometimes we have in stock also some materials which we have. But at the same time, again, we have to look outward also and backward also. What is the supply chain? And outward, what is the market emerging competition scenario? Keeping that thing in view, we review the things and then accordingly revise our prices, whatever, whenever required, quarter by quarter.
Sure. Thanks a lot and best wishes for the coming quarters.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tejas Shah from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Hi, team. Thanks for the opportunity. Hope all of you are keeping well. So sorry to stress this point more, but the first question pertains to our margin philosophy, and I'll just give you some data before you answer the question. So in last 3 years, we have added roughly 400 crore of turnover, and we have added 200 crore of EBITDA there, 193 crore to be precise, which roughly means that incremental turnover is actually coming at a way higher EBITDA margin. And obviously this year is abnormal, and you said that some of the costs were not there. But in normal scenario, where would you like this business to operate at least for the near term? Will it be 17 range, or will it be or that is not the part of the calculation at all, and it is an outcome based on the economic environment?
Currently, sir, it is very difficult to tell you what a EBITDA margin will be because things are totally unpredictable. The way we are sitting in a lockdown, and the way things are, it is difficult. Raw materials are expensive. Overhead will just mount the way things are. We are trying to control the things. But, let the things settle down, then only quarter by quarter things will improve.
Sure.
Things are very unpredictable at the moment, volatile, totally. Nobody can predict at this moment what the year is going to end. We only hope that this wave settles down, things start opening up. Then accordingly, we will take our decisions accordingly, depending upon whether the price revision is required, whether what expenses to be saved for this year. So we have to then take all these precautions. Definitely, if the thing remains under pressure, the margin will be under pressure only.
Sir, let me rephrase the question. So let's assume hypothetically, and then we all hope so for that situation normalizes very fast. As a business, are we comfortable operating at 20% plus margin without compromising on our competitive moat or our competitive power in the very competitive landscape that in any case we are operating in?
We have to always watch competition also accordingly, When the competition intensity is there, we have to be very reasonable with our pricing also, so that at least we don't want to lose market share also, you understand? And then we have to spend money on brand building also. So all these things, keeping it together, sustaining 20% this year is going to be a real challenge. It is not possible, the way things are now. But we have to wait quarter by quarter and see how the things open up.
Fair answer. This answers the question. The second question, you mentioned, and last time also you had mentioned export presence in international market. So any more firmer details on that? And will it be part of any way PLI scheme that government has proposed?
Ritesh, you can take it.
Yeah. Just repeat the second part of the question.
So will it be anyways connected to PLI scheme that government is proposing on footwear as well?
Let me answer the first part first. Actually, we are right now at 4% of our revenue. 4% of the company revenue is doing export sales. And we are able to sustain this sales in last year also, even because due to COVID, all these Gulf countries and African countries have been affected a lot. So, but we have been able to achieve around 98% of the previous year. Seeing the government incentives, we have been already in touch with the government authorities. Whatever incentive we have been able to avail, we are availing. And surely this impact of COVID is happening in this quarter as well, because many countries have partial lockdowns or night curfew or complete lockdowns. So we are just having a wait and watch thing, all the things improve. But the good part is we have been exporting in our own brand with our standard of quality, which is really bringing confidence in the mind of consumer there. So we are very confident we will come back, revive the business soon once the things settle down in COVID front.
आपण ज्या व्यक्तीसोबत बोलत आहात त्या व्यक्तीने आपला कॉल होल्डवर ठेवला आहे. कृपया लाईनवर राहा. The person you are speaking with has put your call on.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, that's all from my side, sir. Thanks and all.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is on the line of Nikhil Chaudhary from Chorus Portfolio. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have just two questions. Sir, can you share the mix of closed footwear when we started the year and probably versus now when we end the year?
Can you repeat, please?
Hello, am I audible?
Can you repeat the question?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll repeat. Sir, can you share the mix of closed footwear in the total portfolio when we started the year and versus now when we end the year?
We can average out for the year. Our closed footwear share is around 15%. 85% is open footwear.
Okay. And it is same like when we started the year and when we are ending the year, correct?
In the start of the year, we were in lockdown. There was no share at all. April we lost. May also some part we lost. What was the share? Share was definitely first quarter, second quarter share was low. It's only after festival, third and fourth, when things started opening up and people started moving around, then only the closed footwear started improving.
Sir, actually I'm coming from the... Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
So third and fourth quarter, share of closed footwear was better. It improved. It came to maybe better than even the last year. But first 2 quarters, it was affected.
Okay. And sir, when we started the year, as in what I've meant is, like when we started before the lockdown, what is the usual share? Like, because where I'm coming from is, because campus is also coming up with lot of closed like varieties or SKUs in the closed footwear, and the what our checks suggest is campus has become aggressive. So just wanted a sense on how the competitive intensity is from campus and how we are able to tackle it.
So that competition is a very good thing, for the company. The company always remains more active. And it is always good to have good competition. As a result, the whole industry grows. And as for your question, earlier than last year, what was our share? It was 20%. Because first quarter and second quarter the previous year were much better than what it was last year. So this year, because sale of slipper was much higher and growth was much more, so the ratio of open footwear went up. And closed footwear, because today also, throughout the year, schools were closed, so school shoe sale was not there. People were moving less outdoors, so sale was affected. And other article also, like tennis shoe, that is again closed footwear. Because schools were closed, so there was no sale. So that has been one of the reasons. Even outdoor movement is less, sale of closed footwear goes down.
Got it. Sir, all in all, we have not lost any market share, right?
No. There is no loss of shares. It is cyclical because of the market condition that things are happening like that.
Got it. And sir, last thing, I just wanted to understand our strategy wherein the competitor is having 9 distributors for say a set of area and we are just having 1 or 2 distributors. Because won't it strain the balance sheet of 1 or 2 distributors in keeping all the SKUs, cut sizes? Just wanted a perspective because I understand probably 1 or 2 distributors are not able to keep all the cut sizes, SKUs and supply to the MBOs, our MBOs.
It is a matter of strategy. When you have too many distributors, they fight among themselves. And then they say we don't get margin. But that competition will be intensity will make too much among the distributors, then also they start losing interest in the brand. But when you give a allocated area to a distributor, then only he becomes more motivated to do that. And we have to protect that area so that today, suppose you are my customer and I give you certain area, you do with your all hard work develop that area. And tomorrow suppose I put another distributor, so how you feel like? After all, you have nurtured and developed the area. So it is your territory, your responsibility also. Today, if my sales people go in the market and take order, whom they give order to out of the 9? If it is one, I will give to that person only, no? The person who is responsible for that territory.
Agree, sir.
So that is the way I just want to operate or we are doing. Yeah. Allocation of area.
Fair from the point of view of distributor, but just wanted a sense on how retailers are perceiving us, because what happens is probably say if they're getting, I understand, I'm agreeing with you, like the distributor will definitely want to preserve his own interest as to he should not have the competition, but retailers will have lesser choices, and then probably from the point of view of retailer, then it becomes little hard in keeping our SKUs in all cut sizes. Just getting a perspective, like I understand distributor benefits.
That I understand. When I find some distributor cannot handle all the range, then we may say, okay, you take these 2 brands, rest we give to another. But still, he will have some kind of control or responsibility of that category. But if there, from retailer point of view, you are right. If he has more choices, then he also plays between 2 distributors. Too much cutting of discount, too much. Then he expects too much of credit also from each other. That also is a very unhealthy position. As a company, we go to the retailer, we find what difficulties he is facing, then we sort out the way the things are. We don't want a distributor should overcharge. At the same time, we don't want the retailer should force him to cut too much discount and then both bleed later on. Then retailers also many times pass too much discount to the consumers. That also we want to see. When the retailer doesn't done, he looks back at the distributor looks at the company. We want there has to be some responsibility of the distributor. Give him an area, let it develop it. Whatever difficulty our retailer faces, then we are there to take care of it. This is the way we do things.
Got it, sir. Very clear. Thank you and wish you all the luck. That's it from my
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhaval Mehta from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So my first question is, let's say in FY21, what would have been the industry decline of the footwear category, and how the competitive landscape has changed, let's say, in last 1 year?
Yeah, I would like to come. My name is Gaurav. So if you have noticed that during last year, the formal segment, outdoor segment has declined, and the casual segment and like the work from home segment has increased, the open footwear. So party wear, fancy wear have declined in leather shoes, outdoor shoes, but the casual footwear, open footwear has increased.
Correct. But even, let's say, pre-pandemic, open footwear used to be around 15-20% of the overall industry size, right? So if a large part of the industry has declined, the overall industry would have declined sharply. Is my assessment correct?
The major this thing has come, impact has come in leather shoes and outdoor shoes. So that has declined tremendously, and the gains are in open footwear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of competitive landscape, be it from unorganized players or organized players, how it has changed in last 1 year?
Similar. It's a similar thing. The ASP has gone down. If you see as an industry, the ASP has gone down because, again, the closed footwear being expensive have come down in share, and the open footwear, which are quite cheaper, has gone up. Yeah. So similar thing with the unorganized also as well.
Okay. So if let's say whatever the share of unorganized was pre-pandemic, is the share similar now, or their overall share has come down of the overall pie?
It's very difficult to measure. We don't have a credible agency who can back the data that this is the percentage drop or this is the percentage increase. So our guesstimate, we can say, the slight decrease we have seen.
Okay. My second question is, any call out, let's say, in terms of which brand of ours has done exceedingly well, be it Flite, Sparx, or Relaxo, or and in terms of geographies, which geography has seen healthy growth?
So if you see in India, Maharashtra and Kerala had maximum lockdowns. So these two states, West and South, was impacted more, but North one, or you can North India and East India, was doing pretty well. This is last year scenario, but currently it's all locked down, so difficult to say.
Is the profitability same across all the geographies, sir?
Yes, more or less it is same. It is same. It's only the freight which is very less.
Okay. So as most of our factories is in North, so if North does well, then I believe the freight cost will be lower. So that helps the margins.
Correct.
Okay. Got it, sir. Sure. Thank you, and all the very best, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhargav Buddhadev from Kotak Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, and congrats for a very strong performance. So my first question is that you mentioned that the closed footwear demand had been impacted in FY21, but as we sort of enter second half of this fiscal, it seems likely that post-vaccination things could slowly start coming back. So in your experience, is it possible to broadly quantify what could be the extent of pent-up demand? And when I say quantify, meaning could it be 1.5x of normal demand, 2x of normal demand, in your opinion, broadly at the sector level?
Sir, it is very difficult to quantify the things. We have to wait and see. We don't even to what extent our lockdown will reduce today. What to quantify? Things are so chaotic, so unpredictable. We have to just move the way things are accordingly.
Sure. But you think that there will be an element of pent-up demand for sure, right? Because this particular demand cannot get lost, the closed footwear demand.
No, pent-up there will be there. But there is a lot of fear in the minds of the people. Even when the lockdown is lifted, I don't think people will immediately start moving very freely. So it will take some time.
Sure.
And then only things will improve. This is what we think.
Sure. Secondly, sir, how are we prepared in the event there is a strong pent-up demand? Are we carrying enough inventory to sort of meet that demand, or can we sort of push our factories to sort of meet that demand? How are we prepared on that front?
So, we have inventories also. At the same time, we have production capacity also. So we always have a cushion in our production capacity, generally utilized by 70%. So we have a cushion for that also. So inventory also doesn't mean we can have unlimited inventory. That also you have to take care. But the way things will pan out, accordingly we will take decisions and actions.
Okay. And lastly, sir, at the company level, is it fair to say that the volume growth for the full year, volume decline for the full year would be in the range of 8 to 9%, and across openwear and closed wear? In openwear we would have grown, but in the closed footwear we would have seen significant volume decline. Is that a fair assessment?
No. Last year, actually, our volume grew by around 7% because slipper sale was much more than the closed footwear, and that is low value segment. But because demand was much more of slippers, so and our sale is only 2% less. So we could only make up because our slipper sale was more. So actually volume has grown by around 7%.
Achha. Okay, so this realized increase of 7% was for the quarter and not for the full year.
Full year. We're talking about a full year, this volume.
Okay. And so for the full year, you are saying volume growth was 7% and average realization would have been down because of increase in openwear.
Correct.
Okay, sir. I understand. Thank you very much for the clarity.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Girish Pai from Nirmal Bang. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, I just want to understand, has there been an overconsumption situation in FY21 for open footwear, which could potentially mean softer demand in FY22?
No. It doesn't mean that today you require slipper always. Last year slipper cannot after there is a limited life of a product. It is anybody requires at least 2 slippers in a year. So that demand is going to remain. Once the things start opening up, consumption will begin. Consumption is still today also. If you are indoors still, at least you require slipper. You're not barefooted. Consumption is still there. So last year's consumption cannot affect this year's consumption. This is what I want to say.
Okay, sir. So had the second wave not happened, say you were sitting in the month of February and looking out into FY22, what is the growth you would have probably looked at? I mean, what kind of numbers were you people looking at internally? Assuming that second wave is not going to happen.
No, yes, it is. It would have been much better because after all, whole month we have lost. This May. In April also, sales were affected. So there is no point in just dreaming of those things, what could have happened. But now let us face what the reality is. The reality is COVID wave is there and things are affected. We have to see now how our June pan out and how our second quarter pan out. That is we have to see. That's important.
Okay. Lastly, sir, at some point in time, I think 3-4 years back, you had started this distribution restructuring where you focus more on exclusive distributors. Now, has the journey come to an end, or are we still on this journey?
Sir, we are on the journey. Always you keep on improving the things, the way of working. Today also we are doing the same thing and putting DMS system on those people, encouraging more and more people to become exclusively our distributors, selling our products, then looking at their areas, territories, how we can make them more responsible, how they can make them more efficient, how we can add retailers to them, more kind of a universe being created. So, it is ever-ending exercise. There is nothing like whatever you eat, even the best things can be made better. So we are always on it. And today also I will say that this is an ongoing exercise.
So, sir, 650 to 700 distributors that you have, how many of them would be exclusive to you, sir?
Around 125, or maybe this. We are trying to encourage them more and more to convert our exclusive. So that journey will continue.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit Kedia from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
So I just wanted to understand the premiumization trend. How much was the premium product sold in the year? Given that open footwear in the first half, we saw a lot of premium Flite and others being sold, while closed footwear was more entry-level products. So by the end of the year, how did that change happen? And from FY20 to FY21, has the premiumization overall increased significantly for us, which would have also aided some gross margins?
No, sir. Last year was a tough year. Rather, we have to introduce a lot of value for money articles. So as a result, our receipt per pair average price was lower. More slippers sold, although in the slipper segment we did add premium segments also. But ultimately, because shoe segment was not selling, and there also in shoe segment we had to introduce value for money shoes also. So overall, last year our average selling price came down, although volumes went up.
Sure. So my second question is regarding the school category. How big is the school category for us, and how much is the inventory in the system for the schools? Because last year schools didn't start, and this year, with the uncertainty in the schools, there could be a lot of pent-up demand from the school side. So if you could just share how does the school footwear industry work for us?
Sir, it is a very, very small share in our scheme of things. So we hardly nothing. Just 1.5, around 1% is our share in our scheme of things. Shoe business, 1.5% or so. That's all. And otherwise, these days schools are not open, still closed, so there is no shoe consumption at all.
Right. And sir, my last question is regarding the new BIS certification guidelines for footwear manufacturers, which is compulsory from 1st of July. How will that change the unorganized sector? Because it will be very tough for them to get this certification. And do you see post this in the second half a good market share gain for organized footwear compared to unorganized footwear coming?
First of all, this guideline already, our association is in regular talks with BIS and the government, and they are likely to be postponed the implementation of this thing. And this will take time because it is very confusing. Even they are not clear. The way they have put up, the way notification is, even it is not clear. Whether they use a word, I just give you one example. They say Hawai chappal, rubber Hawai chappal will attract this thing. But nobody makes rubber Hawai chappal. Then what is the meaning of it? Even they are not clear. When we ask them, what is rubber Hawai chappal? They are not able to explain. Because there is sea change. These things that we have picked up, they have picked up from maybe 20 years back what was happening. So they are now in talk with us. Our industry is talking to them, and they have understood the things. And accordingly, the likelihood that this thing will be postponed for quite some time. Implementation of these guidelines.
Sure. And sir, just one last thing. What was the absolute A&P spend last year? And if you could just share the absolute amount we are looking to spend in FY22, that would be very helpful, sir.
Gaurav can answer this question around approximate idea.
Yeah, approximately 2 years back it was 8 to 10%. It has come down to 5 to 7%.
So in FY22, what are we looking at?
We are again going. We are thinking to 8 to 9%, increase by 1 to 2%. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking the last question. That is from the line of Mr. Gaurav Jagani from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, first question is with regards to, how much of the cost that we are able to save in FY21, how much of that can be sustained going ahead? I mean, in FY22.
So I say 3 to 4% for the saving.
Of the overall savings that we have done?
That's the expenditure we are going to do this year.
Okay, so basically whatever we have been able to save last year, at approximately 3 to 4% of which we can save this year. Is that understanding correct?
No. We are, again, we have to watch the market scenario and take decisions accordingly. We may plan something, but ultimately we have to see the market scenario and decide whether it is a pricing, whether it is brand building, whether it is sales and promotion expenses. Everything we have to. It's a dynamic environment in which we are operating. You can't just say it is writing on the wall, you do it like this. If the market dynamics change, we have to change our things also. So that is the way things move. Not that once we plan, then we have to see the environment. The environment is dynamic and we have to be flexible accordingly. That is what we will be acting on.
Sure, sir. And sir, my next question is with regards to the replacement cycle in the footwear industry. So, have you seen any changes over the past 5 to 10 years? I mean, earlier, like people used to replace it every 1 year, 2 year, and has that replacement cycle gone down overall basis? Have you seen any trends as such?
No, we can only say earlier our footwear consumption was per capita consumption guesstimate 1.5 pair. Now, this guesstimate is 2 pairs per capita consumption. So, that is what reflects consumption has gone up only because of this. Maybe people are keeping more pairs than what they are keeping earlier. And as far as, the poor man is concerned, those who wear slippers, their consumption any time too, because one slipper lasts hardly 6 months, around 6 months. So he has to buy 2 pairs. But overall consumption of footwear has gone up because there is a variety, there is a fashion. So because of fashion itself, people buy 10 to 1 pair. So that is the way consumption has increased.
Sure. Sir, the last question from my end is, what is your CapEx guidance for the year FY22, this coming year?
CapEx?
Yes.
Around 145 crores, what we have planned.
Okay, sure. That's all from me, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for the closing comments.
Thank you all for joining the call. This is all from our side. Looking forward to join you again. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Axis Capital Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.
Thank you.